Hi, I'm Mitzi. This is Designcrete DIY, and I'm going to show you how to make your concrete look like wood. We're going to use microcement overlay to give it texture, stain it, and seal it. So here's what the finished product looks like, so you can see why you're watching this video. Stay tuned to the end because I'm going to show you some more close-ups and also a bunch of our other projects in different colors. Okay, so to save time, we're not going to record the base coat process, but it's in all of our other videos. The base coat is dry, and so the next step is you take one of these rubbing blocks or mason stone, and you can get these on Amazon. And look for any high points where it's just not perfectly smooth. So can you get a shot of this right here? So little nubs like this that might interfere with the next coat, you just very lightly sand them down and they come right off. So if you do it same day, it's very easy to smooth it down with this. If you wait like a day or two, the concrete continues to get harder and harder, and then you'll have to use more effort. So as soon as this is dry to the touch, and you'll know it's dry because it's a lighter color. So if you look over here, this is still wet, so it's darker, and then it gets lighter. So this part right here, I want to sand that down. So just a quick little shave, and it doesn't take much effort. So we're just going to do that to the whole thing, blow it off, and then we'll be ready for a texture coat.
Like right here, see how it has like a deformation pretty much. Doesn't take much effort. All along here. Even over here. This part's a little wet, so I'm gonna wait to do that.
Here's one.
Yeah. And then only 4 passes and it's already gone. And I did not apply much pressure at all. It's just light, and we're just getting all the imperfections out.
So you don't have to be super careful on your base coat. If you can't get it perfectly smooth, don't worry too much. You can always sand off the bits that look weird. Like I don't like this part. Up against the edges, usually it'll
do that.
That's usually a spot where you really need to check. So if you have a small patio like this is 200 square feet. 2 people could do the prep, the base coat, and the texture coat all in the first day. And then the second day is cutting the lines, staining it, and then putting on the sealer.
I'm a new man. I got my permit today, y'all.
Alright, so to keep this video short and sweet, we're not going to cover mixing, but you can get all that info in some of our other tutorials.
Next step is the DIY texture for the texture coat. And they're using brushes to get the texture. She's using a small chip brush to get the verticals. Now he is spreading the texture coat just so it's all spread out, and then later.
It's pretty important to make sure that whenever you're spreading this out, your pile stays even. And the way that I do that is I make sure that I'm not using any pressure on the mat trowel while I'm bringing it back. And that usually keeps it pretty even and flat. Okay, bring some from this side, down. All right, now for the cool part. So you want to start on one end of the patio, and you just push it. No pressure at all. You just push it till the end, and then you drag it back over, flatten it out, smooth it out. And then you do the same thing to the other side. And you're gonna end up with a little puddle at the end. What I like to do is I like to just grab it, move it over here. Come back over here, fix our texture.
So now that he has it spread out, he pushed it, he pushed the trowel, and that's what gave it this beautiful texture. And then he went back over it the regular way, and that'll smooth it out. It won't get rid of the texture, it'll just make it smoother, which is what you want. He's pouring a new puddle while she is flattening out and fixing the texture. This isn't him doing the texture, this is him just spreading it.
So spread it first and then add your texture.
She is making sure there's no clumps on the edges by just going really softly over it, and she'll go back over it to flatten it out.
Now it's always important to overlap your grain and texture. So that way you don't get any missed spots where there's no texture. Should get some of this out. So what I would do is just grab down with your trowel and pull it somewhere out of the way.
Oh, it died.
It didn't die, it just turns off the screen. It's still recording. I see there's a little dot that shows you it's
What's
still recording.
10%?
A little more. I'll show you how I want it.
Yeah. So why'd y'all switch from the broom texture to this?
We're just showing a different style. So if you want to see the broom texture, I think the broom texture is easier to pull off. It doesn't take as much finesse. But we have that in all the other videos. So check out our other videos if you want to see the easiest way. This is a different look. I think it looks a little more realistic.
But it's more difficult.
It's just it's a little more tricky.
He's the master.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it. You can teach other people how to do this since nobody else knows how to do this. I'm not selling your information for free on YouTube. I would sue her if I were you. I think about 50 bucks and after that, spice. Yeah, I think I'm right.
I think he wants your gumbo.
Yeah.
All right, quiet, Jake.
So right now, I'm just moving it back and forth, make sure the whole area is covered before I start texturing. And I like to do me an area about that big, just so that way I don't walking my micro. And I like to start my magic trowel about that much on the existing grain, and then you just push. There's different angles to hold it at, so you're gonna have to play around with it whenever you go to do your texture. My favorite trowels to use are the Magic Trowel brand. They work the best, they flex the best, because not all magic trowels are created equal. So
I'm wetting it so it stays nice and wet. Mama told me to, so I'm doing it. You're welcome. She is using the magic trowel as a little holder just in case anything falls off. Oh, hey, she caught it. This is a perfect time. Well, she kind of caught it. Remember, gently use the razor. Oh. And after you just sprayed off that magic trowel, right?
Clean your tools.
Clean your tools, because the concrete will stick on there and it'll be really bad. And it's just better to always clean your tools after the job. Except for the chip brush. Those don't really matter.
Did you say shit brush or chip brush?
Chip.
It's a good name for it.
Yeah, shit brush. Ooh, gross.
Oh.
What the fuck is that? I don't know.
Okay, it's day 2, and our texture coat is completely dry, and now all we have to do is cut our lines. Dylan is using an 8-inch hardy plank siding board from Home Depot, and he just lined it up to the outside edge, and then, can I see your score tool with us? We're using this carbide tipped score tool, and because the concrete is so fresh, it's very soft, and so you can just slice right through it. And I'll show you some close-ups. But basically, you just start with your first line, and then you just move your board and just keep scoring all the way down. So we're really just using this board as a straight edge. We're not getting any texture out of it. So we're not stamping with the board. Okay, so while we're cutting these lines, I just want to talk to you for a second about the best part of this whole product line is the support. If you go to Facebook and go onto Designcrete DIYers Club, you will get an incredible amount of information, extra content. But the best part is you can ask all of your questions there and get fast answers. And it's not just me answering everything. There's a ton of people in this industry, in this group, that are willing to help. And everyone is super awesome and nice. You can post your project, post your problems. You can talk to other people who have bought these kits and used them. So you can see what their experience is, and it's just a cool place. So go to Facebook and join Designcrete DIYers Club. And here's what the patio looks like after all the long lines are cut. And now we just gotta do the little cross cuts to break them up into small ones. Alright, now that all of these long lines are cut, now I'm going to break them up into smaller boards. I'm going to use a framing square, that way we get a nice 90-degree cut. When you lay these out, there's no rhyme or reason. You can just put them anywhere you want. You can put them all lined up to each other, or you can scatter them out. I've done many of these, and they always look best if you don't have any little short planks. So if I was to put a line right here, I wouldn't also want one close by on the same line. So, on a patio this small, it's about 200 square feet. I don't really want more than one cross cut per line. You just line it up. Now when you're scoring this, if you go all the way to the end of your plank, you could slip and cross over on accident. So the best way to do it is score to the middle and go to the end and score to the middle. And then once that's done, you can kind of go over it pretty safely without going over. And that's it. Now on the next line, I'll probably put one over here. So I'm just trying to space everything out nicely. And it doesn't take a lot of pressure. This is still pretty soft because it's only a day old. All right, so I'm just gonna go through and place my lines. Alright, here's what it looks like after I finished cutting all of the cross cuts. You can see how I've staggered them. So each one of these long lines, or rows, I just put one line. And then I just tried to space them out. So anywhere you stand on the patio, you're going to see about the same amount of lines. I don't like to go closer than this to the wall because I don't want a little tiny short board because that looks weird. So that's probably the closest I would get to the wall. The stone. What are you using?
This rubbing stone.
Okay. Alright, so all of our lines are cut and we have scraped and stoned all of the imperfections off. We blew it off so it's nice and clean. We're getting ready to stain it now. We're going to mix 1 quart of Designcrete DIY water-based stain in black with 3 gallons of water, maybe 4 gallons, probably 4 gallons. We're going to mix it up super good and then we're going to apply it with this deck stain brush that we're going to attach to a stick. So we'll show you that. This is available at designcretediy.com. We have lots of different colors, and if you want to see examples of the colors, go to our Facebook group. Or in the little search bar, just look up Designcrete DIYers Club. Alright, here's our stain all mixed up. And first thing we always do is cut in around all of our vertical edges, around the walls. Ooh, that's nice. How dark that is. Okay, so the first part of the staining didn't record, but don't worry, you'll see the technique better when we do the second coat. When you're applying the stain, it's best to do long brush strokes instead of short choppy strokes. And if you have drip marks from taking the stain out of the bucket, just be sure to brush them out immediately. You have about a minute to spread them out. The color can settle in the bucket, so make sure you stir it up with your brush pretty often. One thing to note is that the stain is going to dry very light, but the sealer darkens it again, so you want to judge your color when it's wet. It's good if one person is focused on doing the majority of the stain, and then the other person is focused on corners, edges, and looking for any puddles, doing any touch-ups. Here I am painting in the vertical edge here. You don't have to stain the vertical edge of your patio, but it's very difficult to keep the products from rolling over the edge. So if you're not going to stain it, you should plan on probably painting it when you're done. Alright, we're back from lunch and the first coat of stain has dried. We're going to put on one more coat of stain. We're going to do it exactly like we did the first one. So he's cutting in all the verticals and then we'll just spread it out. And then we're going to take off because it's going to rain in a couple hours. So we won't be able to seal it today. We'll have to do it tomorrow. If it wasn't going to rain, we could have finished this whole thing today. So here is the second coat of stain. We always recommend doing 2 coats. That prevents missing any spots. And it also evens everything out. It looks much nicer with 2 coats. So we had a little accident here with the sealer. When we were getting set up, Dylan spilt the tray of sealer. And so this is us spreading it out as fast as we can. Normally you wouldn't just pour it out and roll it. You would dip it in the tray and roll out a little bit at a time. But right here we're just trying to get it spread as fast as we can. Okay, so I like to use a disposable roasting tray because I can push it around the floor and it doesn't scratch the stain. If you use a paint tray, watch for scratch marks. So you may be noticing that some parts of the sealer look darker, especially where it like splashed right there and where the tray was. That's just because the sealer was down longer. It darkens as it sits, and then as it dries, it'll all even out. So those spots will go away. Okay, after the first coat of sealer dried, we added a second coat of sealer the exact same way. Just watch out for puddles and try to make it as even as possible. And this is the final result. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned some new skills and enjoyed the video. Please help our channel grow by liking and subscribing so that the algorithm will show this to more people. Thank you. Cheers.